This is $1 million masterclass in 65 minutes in copywriting. There are more than 3.3 million copywriters in the world today, which means that the biggest challenge that copywriters face is differentiating themselves and standing above other copywriters. It's the main reason that they can't consistently sign high-paying clients and make significant money for themselves. In this episode, I walk through entire playbooks with a young copywriter to help them overcome this challenge. We cover positioning, we cover market research, we cover specific marketing strategies that get them in front of their ideal client and walk them through outreach, connection, sales, and onboarding. If you are a copywriter that is currently stuck getting high-paying clients and making consistent, significant money for yourself, you will love this episode. Let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by CopyLaunch. CopyLaunch is the leading membership for copywriters that helps them get high-paying clients. It contains $500 million copywriting courses, marketing playbooks, business processes, more than $50,000 in savings on your favorite software and tools, personal development frameworks, mentorship from world-class copywriters, and more in the one place. Head to copylaunch.com and save big on access with their founders deal while it lasts. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the latest episode of the Copywriter Show. I am incredibly excited because today is our first ever, it's the inaugural episode of having another copywriter on with us so that we can dive deep into what's working for them, what's not working for them, and then we can together optimize marketing, sales, business systems, whatever is the constraint for that copywriter. So, Rowan, thank you very much for joining me today. How's the day been?
No, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. Just finished my 7 till 4 job as a mechanic. So, yeah, bit of a rough day, but...
Yeah, so currently working as a mechanic and then on the side building the copywriting business. Is that correct? Yeah. So what got you into copy and when?
It's probably it's probably a very common story with people probably my age. Andrew Tate's course was basically the first time I ever saw copy. So I was obviously a big influx of that at the start. Like as soon as he brought out Hustle's University or whatever it was, just everyone just piled into that, and I was definitely part of that. So I sort of came across it there and then realised I didn't really like the way the teacher in there taught me things. So I ended up outsourcing, like looking other places, and then found people on YouTube and everything. And just sort of, that was probably August last year, actually.
Yeah, okay.
So after that, I sort of didn't really touch it for 3 or 4 months. And then I got back into it and still going now. Yeah.
So it's been about a year. And what was the initial attraction? I missed the whole Andrew Tate thing, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, really?
I've only heard about it recently that he pushed this whole copywriting thing, and it doesn't surprise me. But yeah, what was the initial attraction about 12 months ago?
It was mainly because in the Andrew Tate's course, it was basically like they ask you at the start whether you want to invest money right now, if you have the money to invest to start all these different things like drop shipping and copywriting, like investing in stocks and everything. And everything pretty much needed money. And I started drop shipping. And I got all the way, built my store, got all the way to wanting to run ads. And I realized that I was going to be spending hundreds to thousands trying to run ads. So I was like, no, fuck that. So I found copywriting. I was like, oh, you don't need any money to start. So I just started learning it there. And then, I had no idea what it was. I was like, copyright? Does that mean like when you steal people's stuff? Like still like when you're in school and you get done for copywriting and everything? I was like, what is this? I have no idea what it is. And realized it was basically marketing in a way. So I was like, it's pretty cool. Like you can just write words and people buy things. So it's pretty cool. So that's pretty much how I got attracted to it. And
I remember having conversations with my family, and like at Christmas with uncles, aunties, cousins, and like, so what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing copywriting, and they're like, how'd you get into that? I'm like, it's something I came across when I was in Europe, and I was really interested in it, so I dove down the rabbit hole, and yeah, now I'm doing copywriting for people. And like, don't you need to do a course or something for that? Like, isn't that like around legalities? And I'm like, oh, no. And they're like, so what's copy? And then it's trying to explain it. And it's like any like word that you see when it comes to marketing or advertising, and even any word that you hear from like a video, that's essentially copy. And they're like, oh, that's really interesting. And then like you go down a rabbit hole with them, and then they don't care because we're really interested in it. And the whole
it's
thing
very,
behind it.
very different for them to hear that. Like, never even thought that was even a thing. It was just some random person just wrote all those words in all the ads and everything they see. So, yeah. It's
like I only realised a couple of years ago that like ADHD runs in my family, and I've never been aware of it or had the thought about it. But then when I hear that and I take a moment to reflect back, I go, oh, now I can see how this has played out in my life and the role that it's played, because of the ability to focus incredibly hard when I'm passionate about something. But if I'm not interested in something, then I couldn't give two fucks about it, and I'm completely disinterested. And copywriting's been one of those things that I got bit by the bug. And the reason is I've always loved writing. Like, some of my fondest memories growing up were English class and just creating fictional worlds and stories and putting together, like a 2-page short story. And I had an experience in year 12 when my English teacher said, your writing sucks, you're never going to be a writer. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, here's a person of authority that knows what they're talking about telling me I'll never be a writer. So I was kind of like, well, I'll go do something else then. And then copywriting comes along, and one of the first investments I ever made when I had no clients was $3,000 in a business coaching course. Because, when you're going to go all in, you go all in. And the feedback there, it's the first time that I had someone say, hey, you're really good at this. And that's when it took off for me. So, when I think back 11 years ago, like as I said earlier, it's been a journey. Excited to dive into. What was it that about 4 months ago drew you back to copywriting?
I can't exactly remember. I think it was just randomly scanning YouTube, and then I saw an account that teaches copywriting, and it was like an hour-long course sort of thing. So I was like, oh, I have a bit of spare time, I'll just watch it. And then, that's pretty much how I just looped back into it. And then, I've just been chipping away at it since. So.
Yeah. So from your perspective, the easiest way that you can explain it, what is copywriting?
So it's basically getting people to make a decision with by the written word, basically. That's how I see it. So.
Yeah, and how?
So basically using their fears and dreams, and sort of not using it against them, but letting them know about their fears and dreams and everything, and then pushing them to make a decision by that.
Yeah, by letting them know about like their fears, their dreams, their current pains, problems, all of that. What are we trying to do? Like just simply, and it's not influence or persuade, but what are we trying to do at a very basic level?
Just make them aware of a product, or your product, or someone else's product.
And when they're aware of it, what do we then have to do?
I don't really know what you're getting at here.
Okay. So the easiest way to explain this, and this is just a learning lesson for yourself as well, because you're so early in the journey. Copywriting fundamentally is about beliefs. The reader has a current belief. At the first point of contact, I need to align with that current belief. Then what I'm trying to do is just stretch that belief a little bit so that it now also includes what I want them to believe, which is aligned with getting them to take an action. So all of these pains, problems, and that's us relating to them and tapping into their current belief system. So depending on that stage of awareness, which you mentioned, they might not even be aware that they have a problem. So the copy needs to make them aware of that problem, and then stretch it a little bit further to say, hey, there's a solution for you out there. stretch it a little bit further to say this product is the best solution possible for you, and then stretch it a little bit further so that they go, you know what, like I really need this, I need to take action right now. So it's where the 5 stages of awareness come into copywriting so that we can meet people where they're at, and then we use our words and we use the copy to stretch the belief to include what we want them to now believe to be true about themselves, about the world, about the product, about how they can achieve their dreams, how they can solve their problems. But just for me personally, when a mentor taught me that a few years ago, that's where it switched for me to go, I am essentially using the English language to help people change their current belief structure so that it now includes something new that I would like.
Yeah,
that's what we're thinking about on a basic level, So then when we go to write copy, it now becomes, what does this person currently believe to be true about themselves, about the world? And that's where market research comes in. And now, what do I know about the product, about other things that I can incorporate to just stretch that belief? And we need to stretch it just a little, because if we go too far, then we lose the person. It's like knowing how hard it is to change our own belief systems or change our own behaviours. Trying to do it for somebody else is
exactly right. Like you just say, this is the solution straight away, and you don't actually slowly pick away. They're just gonna sales guards straight away and just be like, no, I don't want you.
Proof needs to come in, all of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. So, current challenges at the moment. I asked you this earlier, and we had 3. The first one was rejection from clients.
Yeah.
Second one was differentiating yourself. And then third one was writing in and of itself. And the writing in and of itself is going to come with time. It's literally just reps. That's the thing that most copywriters don't understand, is that you're going to get better with time, and collapsing that time with just getting as many reps in as possible, whether that's writing for clients or it's writing for yourself. So let's touch on the first 2. Can you tell me about the rejection with clients?
Yeah, so it's basically because mainly what I'm doing right now is Instagram outreach. And the way it is these days, like what I'm finding is it's definitely getting a lot harder to land a client, because the amount of people that I see in this group that I'm in is crazy. So you go on Instagram and everyone's going to be outreaching to that person. So it's very easy for people to see you offering possibly the same thing as some people. Like I try to lead with value, because there's so many people, as soon as you say, I might have an idea on how I could make you a little bit more money or improve your marketing, they're just like, nah. So often you get quite a lot of rejections, but I've had maybes and then, a couple sales calls, but they just haven't gone through.
So tell me more about that strategy. What do you mean by there's so many people in the group?
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I won't name any names, but there is a very big guy on YouTube that has a big Discord. So he's basically got the free Discord, and then you go down to another cheaper sort of more expensive group, and that's basically full of people as well. That's like there'd probably be a good 400 people in that group.
Yeah, and do those people copywriters, or are those people potential clients?
No, they're all copywriters. Like this is just basically a mastermind group for all copywriters. And, so all those people that are in that Discord and that watch this other guy on YouTube would all be following the same outreach strategy, the same everything basically. So there's just so many people hitting these business owners. And I found, especially in like fitness niches and everything, like these people are just getting smashed. Like if you don't have any proof or testimonials of work, you're not getting anywhere.
Well, the other thing is you don't even know if they're interested or they have a problem. That's one of the big challenges about cold outreach. Is from a volume standpoint, it's fantastic if you don't have like capital to leverage and you're looking to leverage time, looking to leverage energy. However, you don't know whether those people even have a problem or what their specific problem is. So it really is a numbers game. And it's one where when like we look at copywriting marketing and I look at copywriting marketing, there's a different way to go about it that still plays the cold outreach game, but puts the leverage back in the favor of the copywriter. So not experiencing so much of this, I'm just going to DM everyone that I come across. It's more strategic to knowing, are these people actually interested and do they know who? Because otherwise you experience what it is that you're currently experiencing, which is that you're starting to have conversations, and I imagine you have a limited time already because of the 7 to 4. So you need to look at how can you leverage that time that you have so that it goes towards tasks that move the needle forward for yourself, which gets you closer to the goal, which is a couple of high-paying clients.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
So inside of this group, is the cold DM outreach the only strategy?
Pretty much. Like it's all cold. Like
Yeah.
the basic idea of it is you go through their emails, you sign up to their email list, you go through all their marketing, and then you find a problem that doesn't really, that you're taught to pick up on, that isn't really very optimal in their marketing, and then you basically tell them that they have the problem and either ask if they'd like a video explaining it, and or just send them free value on how they could fix it, or just an example of how it could be fixed.
Okay, do you want a better strategy like right off the bat?
100%. I've been trying a lot of shit. But
First things first is I'd recommend like focusing on a niche. Like I agree, health and fitness, that's where I first started. That was my specialty because I built the youth academy with copywriting throughout of it, and it was a huge part of my life with baseball and CrossFit and all of those things. It's heavily saturated right now, but it's only because that industry has had a massive flux. So because there is now such a supply of health and fitness businesses and coaches out there, people are gravitating towards it. What I've been testing with a couple of the beta copywriters inside of CopyLaunch is more like SaaS and indie hackers. And you can go any niche that you want, even e-com, just picking an industry. And what is working right now is Reddit.
okay, yeah.
All I mean by this is spending some time in specific subreddits, and especially when they're like e-com focused or small business focused or brick and mortar focused or like apparel focused, people are going there to get help with their problems. They're posting comments on those subreddits about, hey, I'm stuck here. Does anyone have any advice to help me achieve this? And I literally spent 10 minutes in there a day for 5 days inside of a SaaS subreddit. And I just keyword searched. I came across 2 like businesses that were stuck at, 10, 20K a month. Read through the comments. They're like, here's my landing page. It's not converting very well. All I wrote was a comment of, I'm going to shoot you a Loom video to show you what you can optimize. Shot the Loom video. They commented saying, hey, DM it to me. I DM'd it to them and I posted it in the thread. From there, that client, because they're already saying I have a problem, so technically it's cold outreach. They have no idea who the hell I am. But I've now delivered value. They then watched it, came back to me and said, hey, this is fantastic. Can we get on a call? They've asked for the call, not me as the copywriter. Hey, I want to know more about this. And that's where then as the copywriter, you show the value and you show them all the things that they can do, and they start to get in their head of, oh God, like that's a lot of work. And that then frames it for them to ask, can you help me with this?
Exactly.
And,
go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say the beautiful thing about that, where the leverage comes from, is the strategy of posting the like optimization Loom video in the channel is that there's other people with the same problems who are in there. So I had 2 people message me and say, hey, you said that there were 2 things that they weren't doing. What are those things? Like, here's my page. What could you do for it? And it just creates this flywheel. So it's technically still cold outreach, but it's going where your ideal clients are, because that's marketing first and foremost. And Reddit is a great place for that, depending on the niche that you're in. But the key is that, there's people there who have problems and they're asking for support and asking for advice. So as a copywriter, being able to go in, not even asking for permission, like not saying, hey, can I do this for you? Just, I'm going to do this for you. It's really going to help.
Yeah, well, it's pretty funny you bring up SaaS because that's sort of what I'm heading towards, because all these like service-based like business coaches and everything, like all of them are just getting smacked because a lot of them are mainly on Instagram. They have big followings on Instagram and everything. So yeah, they're just getting belted. So I was like, where's somewhere like a niche that doesn't really get hit that hard, because it's a bit of a different sort of style of copy that a lot of people don't really want to get into.
Yeah.
And yeah, where you're coming from with that Reddit, it's pretty interesting, because that's what I sort of started to notice. I'm like you were saying before about being problem aware, solution aware. So they're already like halfway through, they're already problem aware. So yeah, that's what I found. That's why I was about to start doing more on Upwork. But yeah, I didn't realize the business owners were like that on Reddit, to be honest, because I've always thought of Reddit as like a more of a piss take sort of like app, but it is. But obviously there's also business owners on there that are trying to find a solution to things.
Yeah, it's really grown and expanded into a different sort of ecosystem, and I wasn't aware of it until maybe 6 months ago. Like when I was leaving the position at the ad agency that I was copy chief at, we had a client who came in and they were like, practically all of our traffic, all of our lead generation comes through Reddit and subreddits. And I was like, what are you talking about? Don't they just shitpost memes there? And he's like, no, you should really have a look. It's like a heavily untapped market. And then when you do spend a bit of time researching it and getting into, those more business focused subreddits, and because of the subreddits, they do niche down quite heavily. It becomes a great place to tap into and even just start conversations with people, because there's the chat feature and everything there, but just to show up and provide value. It's an avenue that I'd recommend looking into. Alongside of that, understand that marketing is simply showing up where your ideal clients are. That's the first principle for it. So if you do take the SaaS route and sort of the indie hacker route, it has seen a massive influx of people getting into that, similar to like copywriting with Andrew Tate and through COVID. So even on X, formerly known as Twitter, there's specific communities like Build in Public, where daily there are people who have built a SaaS or have built an app, and they're in like a startup phase, and they're at, I'm at $200 a day. They are actively posting their links saying, can someone please roast my landing page? Can someone please help with this?
Yeah.
So just to be in there and to, again, just start commenting, forming connections with people, that is going to be an avenue that down the road will start to convert into clients for yourself, because you're going to start building a name for yourself in there. And then when you mirror that with content specifically for SaaS, specifically for indie hackers, that revolves around their biggest problems when it comes to messaging, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to optimizing their conversion rates, when they do step into your world, you're going to have a bit of a gravitational force there that positions you as, this is what I do. So you're now going to be in their mind as that person, so that when they do hit like a rock bottom moment, they go, oh, Rowan's the guy that I need to go to. And because they're also active in those communities, when they see you posting things, like they may not comment or anything, but again, it's another seed that's being planted, and it's extra gravitational force that just strengthens around you that starts to attract people to you. So it's where I'd highly recommend, first step is solidify who it is that you want to help. Do market research on them.
Yep.
And you can use Gummy Search, go through the taking stock exercise, use AI for that. just so that you can start to craft your own quote unquote marketing, your own message, your own branding, your own positioning, and then start playing the content game, because that's going to add another layer of growth for any cold outreach that you do. I used to have a really warped perception of content. That's the reason I didn't create it for the first 10 years of my career. I thought it was a waste of time. I'm like, I just want to write fucking copy and I just want to help people. And I was grateful and lucky enough that I took a networking approach early on. So I didn't have to market, I didn't have to create content, and that's why I had the warped perspective of it. Where now I go, oh, if I would have spent those 10 years just creating like one piece of content a day or like 3 a week, the body of work that I would have right now would be tremendous. And that's all that it ever was. Creating that body of work so that when someone came into my world, and now when someone comes into your world, there's all of this information and all of this authority that you've created through that content for them.
That's exactly right. When you meant by content, is that like Instagram or just everywhere, Reddit, just constantly posting one piece every day just to establish yourself a bit more in more places?
Yeah, the content isn't so much the platform that you're going on, that's more distribution. The content is like, if, again, you want to show up where your ideal clients are. I don't have certainty around this. However, my current belief and experience is that if you're going to go SaaS, like Instagram and TikTok aren't the places for it. So it would be more Twitter. Yeah, it would be Reddit and LinkedIn. You'll be able to get hyper-targeted on LinkedIn for people who are SaaS founders and indie hackers. And then just creating content, so be it video, be it image, be it article, be it post. Like just thinking about that and just posting one a day. So it's where you can then create a flywheel for yourself. So for instance, this one long form video, I do 2 of these a week. AI then chops it up into 12 different, short clips for me. They get posted. I then get the analytics on it of what are people engaging with and what are they interested in. I'm now going to take that topic and I'm going to write a couple of posts on it. I'm going to write an article on it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. So that's what I mean by content, is that you'd pick the core themes for those SaaS builders around poor conversion rates, around poor revenue levels, around not enough users, and how messaging is playing into that, and creating content there to make them aware and to educate them and to position yourself as the authority. And the only goal there is to publish. Like, who cares about engagement and that, because that's going to come with time. It literally is just that body of work, because now when you're connecting with people and you're sending them, the optimizations of, hey, here's what, you can do, it's going to strengthen all of that, because you have this body of work that people can see and go, oh, he knows what he's talking about because look at all of this. It's like a psychological shortcut of immediate authority. It's like with Hormozy, so much, and he has the, the background to back it up as well. But just from the sheer body of work, you look at it and you go, whoa, he must know what he's on about because of all of this information.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like you were saying, he posts like 40 pieces of content a day, so it's just forever keeping him top of mind. Like, even though when I first started, I'll obviously probably not get much engagement at all or anything, but yeah, it's just constantly people seeing me over and over and over again. It's just going to be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, so that is in regards to solving that rejection from clients. Show up where there's people who are actually needing support, which at the moment would be Reddit, would be X/Twitter, especially in the built-in public. There's like a SaaS community as well where these people are actively engaged and they're asking for support, because it's where, even though it may not happen right now, and this is the challenge, and I'm speaking to myself here as well because I have poor patience. It's like,
True.
Even though it may not happen right now, that person, when they're ready to act, is going to act. And if you've shown up with value and with support, it's going to be yourself that they turn to because you're continually there for them and in front of them. And you'll also find the people who are ready to act right now. We just don't control who we're speaking to inside of that moment. And we won't know who's ready to act right now until we have a conversation with them.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there that no one's really even taught me. Like it's pretty crazy that I've never really been taught to go where the people actually already have a problem instead of just trying to force something on people that don't even understand the value of it. Mostly, like they don't think they have a problem. They just think their marketing's fucking sweet, or they don't even understand marketing at all, and they don't understand the importance of it. That's another bad thing about the health and fitness sort of niche. These fucking online sort of coaches and everything don't care. They're just like, oh yeah, I just post on Instagram and say DM me if you wanna be coached or whatever. It's just definitely something I need to start getting into, because I'm definitely gonna push away from the Instagram, especially when you don't have testimonials or anything. Like they're worth their weight in gold when you have testimonials and prove that you've done it before. But yeah, when you don't have that, it's not getting too far. People have done it in the groups that I'm in, but it's few and far between most of the time.
Yeah, it's going to be more an anomaly than it will be a consistency. And that's like one of the things, bringing it back to like belief systems and all of those. It's like when someone tells you, like, this is my way, so this is the way that you've got to do it. You always need to take a step back and go, okay, if that's true, then wouldn't everyone who does it see success? Or at least more people than not. And the majority of the times it's not the case, because the person is just selling you their system. They're not selling you a system and then adapting it to work for yourself. So instead of selling the principles behind what's working and saying, hey, here's how we can put these pieces together for you, it's follow this.
Yeah.
And there's no adaptation or flexibility inside of it. And that's where people get into trouble. There's no individualization to it. And the thing about Instagram as a platform as well, it's hyper visual. So it needs to be treated more like a YouTube in a way, like a TV show. It's a behind the scenes of life. So it's more for personal branding. As a copywriter, trying to show up there, it's kind of like, well, how am I going to sign clients? Because when people are on Instagram, especially those clients, they're not there necessarily to consume educational content. It's more entertainment. They're wanting the behind the scenes into other people's lives. They want to see how the business operates. They want to see what, Jack and Jill are up to. So trying to educate from a standpoint there, it's very challenging. And even trying to point and show people when you don't have the testimonials or the experience, you can't put up something that worked so that they can visually see it. And as a copywriter trying to, sell clients on copy, hey, here's how to write a headline and all of that, they don't fucking give a shit. It's one of the things that I'm fascinated about on LinkedIn right now. Because the amount of copywriters that are like, turn your features into benefits. I'm like, the clients don't give a fuck about that. That's what they want you to do.
Yeah, exactly. They care about the outcome, not the action.
Yeah. So personal opinion here is time is better spent on platforms for marketing other than Instagram. And also what you could do is use something like a Sales QL or an Apollo, and on LinkedIn scrape the emails of people who have indie hacker or something along those lines in their profile, and you can then connect with those people automatically and you can add them to like just an email list that you reach out to once a week, just providing value. So you're starting the conversations there, and then you could also use those emails to search for them on Twitter and connect with them there, simply as a follow, and start commenting on their stuff, find them in the built-in public communities, and that you can really start to create an ecosystem there of your ideal client, and you're just connecting and showing up with value. And that's where the content is just a growth layer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm working on this weekend, hopefully. Just racking up as many prospects as I can, get about 50 to 100, and then, yeah, do exactly what you said. Just try scrape their email. I've done that before on LinkedIn. And then, yeah, hit them on like a multi-channel sort of approach. And, I'm working 4 days a week now because I've finally told my boss that I'm not working Fridays anymore. So
nice, that's a good
I have
step.
way more time. So, yeah, this is hopefully where it starts to kick off properly. So,
And the second big challenge was differentiation.
yeah, well, that's pretty much ties into the Instagram outreach, like being different to everyone because everyone's doing the same shit. Especially coming from this guy's mentorship. It's just the same people doing the same thing, that taught the same outreach. And then I bought a high ticket program from the same guy, and then it's just sort of, it's better. It's definitely better, and it's working better than the lower sort of ticket. But yeah, it's pretty much the same. Like we haven't been taught anything. You just said like using Twitter or Reddit or anything. We haven't been really taught to even look for any of that. So
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That's why I'm so passionate about like CopyLaunch and CopyOS and building all of that out. Like the feedback that you provided from getting inside of CopyOS, it helped me see that the mistake that I'd made building it out, and I'm lucky that it was the first iteration, is that there are like course components to it, even though I didn't want there to be. It's like more training side of things, which is why it's now shifting to become a membership with mentorship involved. So like any of the copywriters that come in, there's going to be that one-on-one aspect to it to help them build it out. Because my biggest pet peeve with like quote unquote courses is that you go through the content and then you've got questions. And it's like, well, how do I apply this to me? And that's where the mentorship side of it comes in. So it's like, hey, you know, for instance, with yourself, issue is essentially traffic. Here are the different ways to go about solving traffic. Go have a look at them and then write down, these are the ones that feel the best for me. These are the ones that I'd like to do. What do I do now? Okay, perfect. This is what we'll do next. Once that step's been cleared, this is what we'll do next. And holding the hand of copywriters to help them with that, because nobody teaches marketing or business when it comes to copywriting courses. That was the thing that I learned in Reddit and doing so much market research. People are like, I just finished Alex Catoni's copywriting course. I just did Neil Madora's. I just finished this. And now I'm trying to get clients. And Fiverr and Upwork aren't working anymore. What do I do? And you go, that's where the support's needed. So let's provide that support. And this differentiation, it's not only in the distribution platform and distribution channels that you use. So it's not just shifting from Instagram across to Twitter or YouTube or Reddit or Facebook or Pinterest or TikTok or whatever other distribution channels are, cold email, all of those things. It's also differentiating yourself in the position that you have, which is A, who you serve, B, the type of copy that you write. So instead of being a generalist, it's like, hey, I'm going to support SaaS, but I'm going to help the ones that are launching, and I'm going to do all the launch stuff for them. Or I'm going to help the ones that have currently launched and they're stuck at a specific user level, and it's because of their conversion rate. So specializing there as well and strengthening that position. And then it's just your messaging on top. So how can your messaging be different to other copywriters? That's the easiest thing, because all the copywriters are saying the same shit. So it's just being authentic to yourself and going, everything that I put out, every piece of content that I create, everything that I share is going to be specific for my ideal client inside of the specific type of copy asset that I want to create. And that then is how you are now different to every other copywriter. Because while other copywriters are saying, I help everyone, or, I write all different types of copy, like, people don't care about that. They want the specialist. So that's where you will differentiate yourself. And with enough time, and unfortunately we don't know how long it's going to take, we can just collapse time by how much effort we put in, how many iterations we get done. That's where those people start to get attracted to you, and you strengthen the differentiation so that you stand out. Because you stand for something instead of falling for anything.
That's exactly right. Like you're saying, finding the target people, like that's what I find probably where I'm going wrong is I'm just saying I help online businesses. So no one's going to see you as authority if you're just so umbrella, so fanned out. They're just going to be like, oh, it's just, he's not going to understand my market or what my business is about. Like, yeah, it's definitely something only I've really actually realized in the past week is that, like, a lot of people say, oh, don't niche down, just get your first client and then niche down, and then some people say, no, you got to niche down. And then I'm like, I don't know which side to go, but I've come to my own conclusion that niching down is probably the better route.
Yeah, everybody's going to tell you something different. It's because there's no right or wrong answer. It's like with there was a part of me that was imagining that a question that would come up for yourself is, what's the best step? Like, what should I do? And my response was going to be, there is no best step. It's what's the next step for yourself, depending on where it is that you want to go. And just from my experience, because that's all that I can speak from, every time I've niched down, things have expanded. There's reasons that that's happened, but there's also other successful people out there who have been able to stay broad and have seen success as well. But it's because different things have gone right at different times for them. And a lot of the businesses who can go broad, it's because they already have such a big reach and they already have the volume to sell to. But like, even here, if you wanted to, and it's just an idea, and I know that you're going to say no to it, but as an example, one of the things that you could specialize in is brick and mortar mechanics.
No.
Like that would be an example of niching down, because you think about, people go, oh, there's not that many. Think about how many there would be in Australia.
Yeah, I actually searched that up, and there's like tens of thousands.
Yeah. And you look at that and you go, okay, if I became the guy who just optimized the entire messaging of different mechanics and helped them with their front-end marketing and back-end conversions, for them it might be more ranking on Google, so it's more SEO-based copywriting, and it'd be advertisement, copywriting as well. You look at that and you go, if I became that guy and all the content was just about here's how to get more, people in and how to stand out as a mechanic, like that there would make you more valuable than someone who's like, I help online businesses. That's the lesson, is that even though we think that we're niching down and we're making the market smaller, it's not making it as if it's only 100 people in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's still tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people, which is massive when you think about if you got a 1% conversion rate or a 10% conversion rate of it. Like, it becomes a numbers game. And when it becomes a numbers game, you can then look at the data and you can make data-based decisions. And that's when the game becomes a lot easier, because we're not thinking and assuming and imagining. We're looking at reality as it is. And then we can say, oh, I'm going to do more of this because it's what's working and I'm going to double down. But we need volume at the start to find those things that are working.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that you bring up the mechanic, because that's what I wanted to do when I first started copywriting, when I was in the Andrew Tate's course. And then I realized, I was like, because I've worked for 2 different places, and I realized, the place that I work at now gets people's emails to send them invoices. So I was like, they're not even using these emails to retarget them in any way. Like, this could work, but what I've realized is mechanics don't make much money. There's not a lot of money in it.
That's fair. That's always a good piece of information about a specific market as to whether to go to it or not. Like, if they don't have money, then don't go there.
Yeah.
One of the businesses that I helped with online coaching, we found that out the hard way, because it's like there's a lot of specific coaches out there who need help, but a lot of them don't. Because of that, they become a much harder sell.
Yeah, like going back to the health and fitness, that's like another thing. So many of these fitness coaches are flat broke. Like, it may not seem like it, they'll have like 50k followers and everything, but they're flat broke. But jumping back to you're talking about data and collecting and just going over your data and making sure, seeing what's working. That's one thing I will openly admit that I don't really do. I haven't really tracked much of my data, because when you're trying to reach out at such a broad scale and you're just sending all these messages, it's fucking pretty hard to track everything. Like, you don't want to put everything in an Excel, and it's pretty daunting. Like, just like, I'm gonna have to fill out all these things into an Excel sheet, and I've reached out to like 150 people, and it's like, yeah. But I know the importance of data tracking, but it's just something I haven't had time to do, and also it's like very daunting. So like, I don't really.
Yeah, it is. If you do take the email route, just sign up to ConvertKit. It's free up to like 10,000 subscribers. So if you do take the Apollo and the Sales QL approach from LinkedIn, you can put up to 10,000 people on there, and then you'll be able to track the data of the emails that you're sending. And it's very easy when it comes to Reddit, because the volume isn't going to be there. But you're going to be able to get fast reps in, which means that the feedback loop is going to be so quick. You'll be able to see, hey, when I connect with someone or when I reply with this, that's what's getting me a response. So I'm going to test that again on this next one. Oh, it got a response again. Let me test it again. Or it didn't. But you're going to be able to shorten that feedback loop on that data, and it's going to be a heck of a lot more real time for you. Where, as you said with the cold DMs, it's like, well, I sent 50 and nobody replied. Okay, what was it about it? Like, if I send another 50 and it's all different, no one replies. Like, is it my opening that was off? Is it like what the hell was it there? So taking those two approaches will really help. And then also, because of the analytics side of Twitter and LinkedIn, you're able to see what your reach is when it comes to your content. You're able to see what your clicks are, what your engagement rate is. And there's a plugin for Twitter called Super X. And I'm going to share my screen for a second. I want to see if it comes up.
Question I did have though for content. What's sort of the approach you go for that? Would that just be sort of just for your target market? You're basically touching on what problems that they could possibly have in their marketing or their sort of strategies.
Let me go through this first, and then we'll come back. This Super X, like, it's a free plugin. It just shows like what my activities are. So I think this is for this week so far. I don't know, but I only found this today. It like breaks down the individual tweet. So like, I can look at this and I can go, okay, this one here about, marketing has gotten a bit more traction. This one here, which was an article that I shared, got some traction. This one here got some traction. This one here got some traction. This one here. So I can go back and I can then look at that and say, okay, this is what I'm going to double down on. Like, so being able to look at this data helps when it comes to X, of saying, okay, these are the specific themes that I'm going to expand upon. And it's a lesson when it comes to copywriting. And product is always the same. It's just a wrapper that's different. Like, there's Snickers and then there's the Fuse bar. Both are the exact same bar, one by Cadbury, one by Nestle. Snickers is the most popular chocolate bar in the world, and Fuse isn't in existence anymore just because the copy was different. It's the same with the iPod and an MP3 player. Same product, 1,000 songs in your pocket versus all the features. So when we look at it and when we find a specific theme, how can we create 10 different iterations of that? I've now expanded more content and I have more content to post. that's about the core thing that people are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sorry, what was the question on content?
I was basically like, what sort of content? Is it basically seeing what your target market is often possibly having problems with, and you're sort of explaining it? Is that sort of the route you take for content posting?
Yeah, so not so much explaining the problem, but for instance, let's say, I'll share my screen again because I have this already done. So let's say that we take the SaaS route. Okay, so I have this audience here of SaaS and indie hackers. It's got 12 different subreddits inside of it, all to do with SaaS marketing, SaaS businesses, SaaS startup, indie hacker startup, like side project, all of those things. You can see some of the subreddits on the left. When I come here into themes, excuse me, I can go pain and anger, and it's going to look at the last week. What were the main things? So, struggles with finding product market fit, profitability. So we can look at that and we can say, okay, it's mainly to do with like revenue, and this here would be around conversion rate, but also traffic. So thinking at it from a copywriting perspective of how can I help these SaaS businesses understand the role that messaging plays in them not having product market fit and in being able to get product market fit and traffic, and then also how that would relate inside of conversions for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I can also have a look at, let's go advice. So we can just start to get, so optimizing lead magnets. So again, traffic. Have a look at solutions. So you just come in and you look for those themes. And then when we create the content, what else is in here? Yeah, when you go to create the content, you're looking at those big themes and you are thinking it through the lens of a copywriter and saying, this is the problem that these SaaS businesses have, product market fit.
Yeah.
What are all the ways that copy plays a role in that from both a negative perspective and a positive perspective? So it's where, you know, the hook is as simple as 9 out of 10 SaaS startups never find product market fit. So we've touched on the main thing, and then you just go through the content around why that's the case and how copy can help them do it.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the thing, you know. You can then even just find someone's like landing page and they might say, hey, my landing page is shit, or like Danny Postma just had a beautiful landing page. This one here, it's so simple. So this would more be for a, hey, here's a landing page done right. So it could be, you know, X amount of SaaS startups, you know, don't get past their first 100 users. And the reason is that their landing pages suck. Here's the reasons. It's too complex. They try and say too much. It's word salad. It confuses people. Here's a, you know, landing page. It's one fold. It has 77 words on it. And it's done almost 2,500 pre-orders now. It had like 1,600 within the first 24 hours. So that's another piece of content that you could do to educate your client around, hey, one of the reasons that your revenue is stuck or you're not getting users is because the traffic that you're driving to your page is great, but when they get to the page, it's not converting, and here's why. It's got nothing to do with your product. It's got everything to do with the wrapper that you've wrapped it in.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people out there who have a brilliant product, but it never sells because the marketing shit, the copywriting shit. And then there's so many subpar products that are killing it because they've marketed and messaged themselves and packaged it incredibly well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's very, very insightful.
Okay.
A lot of something else I've noticed, like you're saying, obviously some of the SaaS websites have word salad and everything, and something else I noticed is like inconsistent sort of wording. Like it's not very consistent throughout all their pages, and it's just confusing to even get started on a lot of them. Like just going through them, because I know you had a video going through one of the funnels, and you're also talking about having that consistent message throughout the whole marketing.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can find it. I don't think I'm going to be able to on here. But yeah, there was one guy that was in that building public, and it's like the headline and the big promise was monetize your AI tool that you're creating. Like you can create the AI tool and then whitelist it and sell it to people. But the rest of the page, there was nothing about the monetization and how you'd actually do that. It was just, here is the product and how the product works. And it's like you've promised monetization, but now there's no mention of that at all. So changing the top and the promise to create an AI assistant, create an AI assistant like in 3 easy steps or within 2 minutes, and showing them that. And then the cherry on top is, hey, you can now monetize this and sell this to other people as an AI assistant for themselves. So you can create it and then you can wrap it up and sell it specifically to health and fitness people or something like that. That's where, there was misalignment in that page, and that's the same with a lot of those SaaS businesses, because they look at the likes of Slack or some of the top dogs now and they model it, and they don't understand that back when Slack was very, early days, and in their shoes, their page looked fundamentally different. They had to educate the client. They can't just go and put an offer or a very big bold promise up the top straight away. So that's another great piece of content. As you said, you can turn that into a weekly show, and put it out there and publish it. And if you have your email list, of all of these different SaaS founders and indie hackers, that's the email that goes out every week.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, here's this landing page optimized. Like that's giving value to them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
and
very.
It's positioning you.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting way to go about it. Yeah, that's something I definitely have to jump into, because
there's so many different ways. I'd recommend use this weekend to write it all down and really think about it before jumping in.
Yeah,
because there are different strategies. Send me emails with what you're thinking about and that, and I'm more than happy to support and give feedback and be like a sounding board. Because it comes down to the quality of your judgment and your decision making. So instead of diving in straight away, hey, here's all my different options, which one feels right and which one would I like to commit to? Because consistency is what wins in the end. So which one can you play the long game at and can you commit to? And like, you know what, I am going to go SaaS and I do want to take this approach. So therefore the best use of my time, because that's what I have to leverage right now because I can't leverage anything else, is I'm going to do A, B, and C. And I'm going to do that consistently. And in the next 90 days, I'm going to see where I am.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's definitely be the next path, because I'm pretty well fixed on going for more SaaS companies. Yeah. And I'm not sure whether to go for already well established or go for like more of a startups or wherever. Everyone I've gone
and
Reddit.
Testing. Yeah, but both have their pros and cons. A lot of the ones that are already established will have capital, so you know that they already have money coming in. So when you look at that and you play the like data game with them, if they're like, hey, we're at 10K a month, and they'll know their like specific conversion rates and that, you'll be able to take a look at those and be like, hey, if we were to increase this by doing this and increase this by doing this to these levels, this is what we'll see on the back end. With startups though, the risk at the beginning is higher. However, the back end is exponentially more rewarding because of the risk on the front end. So it's where you may not sign a contract with them for much up front, but there'll be a percentage of sales on the back end. A story of this is back in 2021. I worked with a Web3 company, startup. They said, hey, we're launching, in 3 months' time. It was early January of 2022. And we want you to help us with the marketing. And we don't have anything to pay up front, but we're going to give you 5% of sales from the launch. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fuck around and find out. Like, it sounds good. I did barely any work for them. Like, it was mainly strategy stuff. Like, here's the different stuff we're going to do. They had their own, like, CMO who's like, I'd like to do it, so I just want you to, edit it and give me advice. And I'm like, yeah, okay. They did 1.2 mil inside of 24 hours on their launch. We got 5,000 people into the community to say, hey, I'm interested in this when it launches. And they had, I think, like 2,500 different products, like 2,500 like products to sell or spots. So it's like 5,000 people want it. So yeah, that payday was like a 50K.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And it's like, holy shit, that's when that like opened up for me of going, oh, there's a different way to go about it, because I could have said no because they couldn't do anything up front, but by taking on the risk, it may not have worked out, but sometimes it does. So that's where, when looking at startups versus looking at established businesses, you can play both, or you can choose one or the other. But if you go the startup route, typically, higher risk up front. Some might be able to put forward, 2K or something, and then sales commission on top. But the established ones are typically easier sells, because they're like, I just want the problem fixed. Like, we want to make more money, we have money, or I want to save time and you're going to save me time. So they're happy to invest. So it is a personal preference, but there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's something I'll have to think about, and maybe just go on for both, and just realize that, like what you said, there's pros and cons for both, and I'm willing to.
The content. Sorry, you go.
I'm willing to just take a little bit of risk just for experience, even right now, because I'm in no rush to make all this money. Like, I don't really need to, but I'd rather just have the experience, and
that's a good position to be in. So even there, the experience will come from, if you can twice a week, like, do those reviews and the optimizations and post them as content, send them out to the list that you're building, and then create other content around it. Like, you'll start to see themes between things and be like, as you said, this is like, they make it way too complex. So you're now creating different content around that, around simplifying and how that helps with product market fit. Like, and then in 6 or 12 months time, you might be able to see, because you'll have the data of, all startups are actually really good, and that's what I want to go with. Or you might make the choice of, no, I want to go with more established, and you have the experience there now, you have those testimonials. So you can then use those in the marketing, you can use the experiences that you've had, you can use the stories that you've had, you can use the results that you've had, and it all just starts to expand out from there.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
So, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me on the first episode. I have maybe 5 minutes left. Any other questions or anything that you'd like to dive into?
Not on the top of my head. I almost forgot about this call today. I came home from work and I was going to plan some questions, but you definitely touched on a lot of things that are going to be very helpful for me in the in the next future. So, I'll pretty much just take on board everything you said and start implementing some things, and see where I can go with that.
And if there's any copywriters out there, or any SaaS business owners who have listened to this and are interested in connecting with you, where can they connect with you?
Pretty much my Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I'm on Facebook. Just basically it's just my name on all of them. It's just Rohan Collett. So ROHAN COLLETT.
Beautiful. And I'll link that in the show notes for you.
Perfect.
Brother, thank you very much for joining us here. It's been an absolute pleasure. As I said, we ticked the first one off. So yeah, you popped my Copywriter show, Copywriter cherry.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. And to everyone who's listened along and watched, thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions that you would like answered, then please email me, comment on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, wherever you can find it. And yeah, we'll see you back here on the next episode of the Copywriter Show. And before I forget, the waitlist for CopyLaunch is now open. So I'll link that in the show notes for any copywriters who are interested in jumping in early. We have more than $6,500 worth of bonuses for jumping on the waitlist. It went live today after sending it out to the email list. So I'll link all of that in the show notes for everyone. Thank you very much once again for listening in, Rohan. Thank you. Absolute pleasure. We'll see you back here for the next episode. Okay.